So what exactly is eBridge by Champion Solutions Group? Well, to understand that, we first have to bring in our ServiceNow and understand that while America runs on Duncan, ServiceNow runs on data. To get the most out of your ServiceNow investment and platform, we have to get the proper enriched data that is meaningful to your environment inside of the CMDB. And that is exactly what eBridge is going to do for you. Having performed various integrations for customers over the years, we've found four things that have problems how ServiceNow is implemented at most customers. And let's begin with the number one, which is simply the cost of deployment. Beyond incidents and ticketing, the first things people try to do is do asset discovery, orchestration, and the new feature event management. For most organizations, these features can be quite costly, as the more inventory data you try to pull in, the more different orchestrations you're turning on, and the same thing with event management. What we found in most of our environments, that while they have third-party applications that have a wealth of data, and this is what they want us to integrate, they needed more of that data in the CMDB because the default discovery by ServiceNow, while good, simply does not offer them all of the enriched data that they needed to run their orchestration and event management. And this, of course, leads to our next step of simply limited functionality. Information limited by vendor development efforts. So you could have third-party application, whether that's an endpoint management system, whatever it is, and they don't have a integration into ServiceNow, or if they do, it's very limited. They're not giving you all the data that you need, and in the same sense, it's usually in unidirectional, not bidirectional back to the application, so that also suffers under orchestration. So these particular reasons are why we usually come in to create integrations for our customers, and why we started to develop the eBridge in the first place. Having a consistent method of integrating third-party applications into the CMDB removes the proprietary integration and provides better data correlation between the various data coming into the CMDB, therefore filling your CMDB up with useful data that actually can help you with your orchestration going forward. Without all of these and limited asset discovery from a cost management standpoint simply means that people have a difficult time with the ServiceNow application because there's no true source of truth, and we still rely on people looking at multiple planes of glass. To visualize this, let's take a look at what a ServiceNow implementation, a new or existing one, would look like. Now next I'm going to throw up some icons here. Don't freak out about what they are. They're some of our first girders, and you could plug in any third-party application that might be running in your environment, usually some type of SIM, a network monitoring tool, endpoint management tool. They all have their planes of glass, operators looking at them, and there's a lot of data in here that'd be great to get into the CMDB. Because again, the point of ServiceNow in a large sense was to make these folks' life a little bit easier, to consolidate all this dispersed data in a single location that we can act upon with orchestration. And while some of these may have some vendor supplied integrations into ServiceNow, we do find that in a lot of senses they're limited. Single directional, unidirectional into ServiceNow at best, and a lot of information that are still inside of these enterprise applications don't find its way into ServiceNow at all. This then still leads to a lot of issues in the environment. People still don't look at ServiceNow as the complete source of truth. This becomes a very management nightmare going forward. Certainly not frictionless, and this whole solution becomes more of a management headache than anything else. So how can we solve this dilemma? Well, if we start with the eBridge and we put up our enterprise apps again, and we use our girders, which are bidirectional intelligent applications inside of ServiceNow, we can start bridging the gap for some of these third-party vendor tools to get proper, good, in-depth data into the ServiceNow CMDB. So again, don't worry about the icons that you see above there. You can substitute. We have a lot of girders. Please check out the Champion website. But once we get good data coming into the CMDB in a methodical way, we can do better data correlation and then have a single entry into the CMDB, providing you with good data to run your ServiceNow platform and application, which leads to better asset control, better orchestration, and even event management from this point going forward. And this is all possible by leveraging the bidirectional girders in eBridge. So what exactly is a girder? Well, for those ServiceNow orientated people, just recall a girder is a scoped application. ServiceNow, for those of you that don't really understand what that means, it's simply not a one-off integration or script. It's actually a vetted application inside of ServiceNow. It does get reviewed and approved by the ServiceNow folks, so that you could be sure leveraging the girders under eBridge is not going to cause any issues going forward. So when we talk about a girder or eBridge apps, just remember that those are scoped applications. And we feel our girders have a little more intelligence to them beyond the ServiceNow spokes. So the spokes are good, and they allow you to do certain functionality enhancements inside the ServiceNow platform. But our girders are all bidirectional, they're intelligent with a full stack solution, and they also adhere to business rules inside of ServiceNow. And because of that bidirectional capability, we offer a little bit more beyond what ServiceNow does with their spokes. So now that we know our girders are scoped applications inside of ServiceNow, let's take a little more detailed look at what makes up a girder. And I'm going to use BigFix as an example here. I'm using this simply because this was one of the first girders we created in the eBridge application. And kind of what we want to point out here, again, this is not a one-off script integration to get data in. It is actually a full-fledged application inside of ServiceNow, as we can see from this screen right here. It has a whole set of features and functions just like you would expect out of a scoped application. And while we're at it, we might as well drill in a little bit to the source code. We do follow a very stringent path to make sure all the girders conform to the same standards. This makes data correlation between the different vendors easier for us, offering more intelligence into CMDB and when we go to do orchestration. And as a result, this gives us unmatched asset discovery at a much lower cost and better automation or orchestration, because we're pulling in data from various sets of dispersed third-party systems, correlating that data, adding some machine intelligence to it, and being able to provide you with a CMDB that is full of in-depth data and knowledge. And as an example, on this screen that you're looking at here, this is a summary screen because each girder offers a summary of data it pulls in, and here we can have a holistic view from an executive dashboard, if you will, that is showing me data from multiple sources once you enable the girder. Could you imagine being able to pull the information from your SIM, endpoint management tool, patching tool, network monitoring tool, being able to correlate that data? It simply provides better visibility and more visibility into ServiceNow. At the end of the day, eBridge and the girders simply provide frictionless integration into those dispersed third-party enterprise applications that already exist in your environment and already have a lot of that in-depth data that you want to leverage in the CMDB and you need in the CMDB. You can do discovery, orchestration, and even event management at a fraction of the cost. So let's try to sum up what we were just talking about. We talked about we've done a lot of work in ServiceNow for customers, and if we talk about cost of deployment, we kind of fix that issue with eBridge. We get better asset discovery, orchestration, and event management, so we can eliminate that as an issue going forward. Next, we're going to address the limited functionality, which we talked about. Now we have girders that are bidirectional and no longer dependent on the limited or non-existing vendor integrations into ServiceNow, and therefore, because of eBridge, we have better data correlation as well between all these vendors. And because of this, we no longer have proprietary integration, as everything is managed the same way across the girders. Check marking all of these things, we kind of eliminate the difficult to use issues that we as integrators have found with customers trying to fully implement ServiceNow. So to move action forward, we'd love to schedule a demo, do a deeper dive, show you what this all means in a running workable demo. We also do have a 3-month beta program at no cost to you, and you can compare how this works in your ServiceNow environment. We get the default eBridge with Active Directory integration and a girder of your choice. So please reach out to us because we would love to follow up and help you on your ServiceNow journey. Thank you.